Very rarely have I ever said that there is a single product that you as a streamer should invest in. And that's just because everyone's setup is completely different to what you do on your stream. But this product specifically, I think, without a shadow of a doubt, I think that if you're going to aim for something that you want to upgrade your setup with, I think this is the product. What are we talking about today? We're talking about this. We're talking about the Elgato Prompter. And it's a huge box, and I'm able to show it in here. Yeah, Elgato sent this over about 3 weeks ago, and I've been messing with it. I've recorded several videos with it. I'm recording this video with it right now, and we'll talk about how I'm using it in my setup. But honestly, I just want to talk about how simple and easy this product has been, not only to set up, but to use, and the versatility of what you can do with this thing. It's unmatched. Let's get into this. By the way, full disclaimer, Elgato is not sponsoring this video. They're not seeing this ahead of time. They did send this over for me to take a look at and to make some content around. So what is a teleprompter? Well, this is the teleprompter that I've been using for the last 2 years. And I actually take a 15-inch external monitor, stick it on here and run it out from my computer, use OBS to cast a source over to it, and use it very similar to how I'm using this one. But I use this, and while this might be cheaper, you get no software, you get no controls, it does not flip the software or the text and everything the correct way, and it's huge and it's chunky. There are like smaller solutions that I've actually done on this channel before, but when we talk about teleprompters, I think people just limit themselves to thinking of it as text. For example, on this video right now, there's no script on the screen. I'm actually casting my OBS over to the teleprompter. So what you can see from the B cam that I have set up back here, you can see that I'm on the monitor and it's showing up on the teleprompter. And I'll even show you from this perspective, it's just OBS casting over to there. Let me go to the desktop. So here you can see this is just OBS, and all I'm doing is I just right-clicked, went to full screen projector, and chose the Elgato Prompter, and that's what's cast up there. And as you can see from the B cam, you can totally see that it's showing everything that my OBS would be showing. Now this is one very small way that you can use this teleprompter, and it's the way that I mostly use it is casting my OBS up to this screen. But there's so much more, not only between Camera Hub, but everything else. But I think we need to break down everything that's inside this and what you get with it, because I think that is another huge selling point. So let's unbox this. So inside the box, you're going to go ahead and open up and see this, the Get Connected box. We're going to actually come back to this in just a moment, and I want to open up the actual Elgato Prompter itself and pull it out so that we can take a look at it. And as you can see, it's nicely like wrapped, just like most Elgato stuff is. We can pull it out, and here is the Elgato Prompter in all of its glory. It's already connected with everything to go ahead and connect. I think the face cam already on this, but there's so many things that we can do with it. And what also comes with this is the accessories, which kind of really sell this product. So inside the accessories box, you're going to get things like different faceplates to be able to attach different cameras to the back of this, as well as one that's kind of universal to attach any camera. You're also going to get step-up rings, so where you can attach this to the end of your lens on your camera, and then there's also a bracket to where you can slide that actual step-up ring into it so that it attaches to the camera on the end of the lens rather than you attaching the body to the teleprompter and doing it that way. There's a couple different ways you can use this. Now, the way that I've chosen to use it, and as you can see from Bcam, I actually have it attached to a pole, and I actually have the teleprompter hanging off one of the step rings on the front. I do have a little arm that's underneath, and I'll show some B-roll of that right now, that is supporting the bottom of the teleprompter. However, I'd used it for about, I don't know, 2 weeks easy without any problem, and I just recently added it because it does add a little bit of shake. We'll come back to that in just a second. There's something else we got to talk about with that. So the way that I've been doing it, you take a lens. For example, this is the Sony 11mm lens, and you take the step-up ring and you just screw it into the very end of it. And this, just like this, is how it would actually screw and slide up into the back of the teleprompter with that specific faceplate. Now, there are other faceplates. For example, there is this one that will actually screw on and attach. And this is one that's just a big open hole. And the benefit of this one is it gives you the shade for the back. So you throw this over the back of the camera, and I'll show you a clip of me actually having it on the back of one right now. But anyway, you do it to where it throws it over the back of the camera so no light comes in, kind of casting light on the back of this. But you can use anything. You can use your phone. You could use any webcam. It doesn't have to be Elgato, but by using this specific one. But Elgato does include a faceplate for the, I think it's the Mark II face cam. You can use any of the face cams with this, but this specific one allows you to use anything with it and kind of move it all the way in and out. I'm not a person who uses webcams as much very often, except for this one. That is the actual Tiny Air, or the Tail Air, the Tiny Series OBSBot Tail Air. I don't use webcams as much. I only use cameras as much now. But just so that you know, what you're currently looking at is going through the Elgato Prompter. This is the Sigma 16mm f1.4 on an FX30, and it's just hanging off the front of the lens with one of these adapters. However, I have attached it to the plate, which here's the plate. I just removed it. Basically, this attaches to the back of the prompter, and then you have the 1/4 mount slider here. It does attach, but I will go ahead and give a caveat when it comes to the FX30. It does not fit very well on this with the Sigma 16. So if you're using that, I wouldn't use that. Also, if you use a dummy battery on something like the FX30, there's totally not a divot and cutout like what you get on some of the other cameras to do that. So I would totally not consider that you're going to have to hang it off the front of the camera. Well, at least with the Sigma lens. I've tested a bunch of lenses, at least for APS-C. I'm not on full frame yet, but the ones I did test, this is the Sony 16mm f2.8 that was from the old like Next series. This is the Sigma 30mm. This thing looks fantastic and works really well with this. This is the Sony 11mm, and I'm going to show some B-roll specifically of this lens. Can you get the 11mm to work on this? The answer is yes. I was able to get it without any kind of vignetting on the outside, but you have to use this piece to be able to make it work, and it has to go as far in as you possibly can to make it work. And that was without any kind of cropping or anything for this to happen. So yes, can you make an 11mm work? Totally. Now, I don't know if that's going to translate to like a 17mm in full frame, if it's going to work, but at least it works on the Sony 11 as long as it's all the way in, almost to the glass, using this piece right here. This thing connects via one cable, one single cable, and this one cable is USB-C on one end, which attaches to the actual screen, and then it goes out to a USB-A cable, which will connect into your computer, which does not need an HDMI cable. It doesn't need anything. It literally just does all of the video, everything through one cable. That is beautiful. Let me just say that. It's beautiful. For those of you curious, the resolution of this screen, at least what it's showing, is 1024 by 600, and it looks fantastic. I feel like it's got a higher resolution than that. However, it is a small screen, so it appears that way. So here is the desktop, and we're actually looking at the Camera Hub software, and this is the software that kind of controls everything between text, chat. You can control brightness, contrast, a whole bunch of stuff with the actual teleprompter you can use with this. And what you can see from back there, it's actually just a third desktop right now. And I'll show you from display settings that it just registers as another display. It's actually display 4 for me, and then I have a TV that's off to the right over here that's connected, but it's turned off right now. So what you can do is you can actually power off this teleprompter, and it stays connected. It doesn't actually disconnect it from your PC, but it does turn the display black, as you can see, and you can toggle it back on and it comes right back up. So it does show as a display on your system, and you're able to arrange it and orient it however you want. For those of you curious, it does not support G-Sync or FreeSync. For those of you thinking about that, it does not do that. So with that being said, it does show up as a display, and because of that, I can just take Windows, because it's right here. I can take a window and just drag it over, and I can use any window over here on this actual teleprompter, and it just show up as a normal computer screen. That's what's really cool, is it's so versatile. Now, when people think of teleprompters, they think of text. And when I click over to text, I actually can just create scripts. And what you can see is here, I have a script that's just one really easy that's just welcome. And this is when I was actually doing the review for all of the Neo products. By the way, you should go check out that video. The Neo family is so cool. And they just sent me the Neo, the Wave Neo and the Stream Deck Neo. So I'm going to be doing a video following this one covering those two products. You should check it out. But as you can see, I just put the prices so I could refer to them while I was doing it. And that was basically it. It popped up right here. I have everything that I need. And that was the text. So you can actually add more scripts, any of your stuff here. You can add multiple paragraphs to kind of go in between, and then you can scroll kind of in between, hit play. You can go back to the previous paragraph, the next paragraph. You can dictate, so you can click the microphone here. It'll ask you what speech services you would like to use. It's currently listening, and once I turn this off, it should, testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so you can see it actually goes ahead and just writes some stuff out. So if you wanted to be able to just use some thoughts and put it on here, it should work like that. And there you go. So you can go ahead and do just voice to text stuff. On Mac, you actually have to tell it that it's allowed and able to use it. This does work on Mac, by the way. But this is the Camera Hub software. So a lot of this stuff is self-explanatory. The brightness of the screen, contrast. You can't adjust the actual color balance of the screen. I have found that it's a little cooler in how it works. And what I mean by that is it's on the cooler side of the warmness spectrum, I guess. How do I say that? The Kelvin spectrum, the color balance, white balance spectrum. There we go. There's the word. It's on the cooler side. So I would not use this for accurate colors or for like color mixing. So just as an FYI, but I guess you could adjust those settings in Windows or in Mac. There's also a couple other things. You can leave it as display. You can leave it as text, or you can kind of mix the two. So what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and share my Elgato Prompter over. So OBS is currently also posting over to this, and I can turn on the opacity, which one is it? And what I can do is actually have either my desktop poking through, or in this case, I've got OBS just popping it over so you can see that. That's just me being able to see what's behind. And what's really cool is because I'm able to do that, if I go full screen this, and I go back over to PC Cam and desktop, I can actually see myself, be able to have my conversation and continue forward, which is so cool that this does this. And this is the stuff that I don't see with other teleprompters, especially for the price. We're talking I think it's $280 for this teleprompter. And that might sound like a big cost, but man, I already, to get this kind of control, it's thousands of dollars out of a regular teleprompter. But for this one specifically, $300, and you get the monitor, all that stuff. Yeah, there's more to cover. Let's keep going. All right, so on here, you're able to change everything from font size. You can make it bigger. You can adjust the horizontal margins, like how tight or away it is. And depending on how close you are to the actual teleprompter, let's say you're using, like, this is a Sigma 16mm, which is 24mm full frame equivalent. This is kind of the same situation you would see from like a regular webcam, like a C920 or like the Facecam Neo that's going to be coming out that I'll review on the channel soon. It'll be about the same kind of like field of view in a sense. So this is kind of what you would expect from that. And when you're reading the text on screen, they give you a lot of adjustments to be able to do that. You also have auto scrolling, and this is all stuff inside the software, but we're going to talk about some other solutions in a second. You have auto scrolling, scroll speed. You can make it loop based upon what paragraph you're currently on, and you can do an overlay. So you can actually add a crosshair or a snap or a square. I currently use this square, and I've specifically placed it to where it is exactly in the middle of my lens. So if I want to be looking directly at the lens like I normally would, I would look at my little blue square that I've added, and I've made it opaque, and you can reposition it around the screen however you want, but I know that that is exactly where my lens is, and that's what's really cool, because when I'm looking at my screen like this, where I'm looking at my face, I'm a little above where that spot is, so it might look like I'm looking above you, but most of the time it doesn't. But I know that that is the dead center of the lens when I look at that. Anyway, that's a whole lot of stuff, and there's one more thing in Camera Hub we have to talk about: chat. All right, so what I've done is actually connected my Twitch chat here, and as you can see on screen, it says Darkened Cyrus connecting, Darkened Cyrus connected. And if I go to my Twitch chat and I type in hello, you'll see that it will pop up my chat right there. Tell me how cool is that? Is this cool? Yes. And so I can just literally let chat roll on the screen from my Twitch chat, and this be so easy to be able to connect. And all of these adjustments, these appearance adjustments, do the exact same thing. So you can allow this to be font size, you can adjust this to make it smaller, the margins, etc. All of those same adjustments apply to the Twitch chat as well. You can change the color, you can change the opacity so that it just pops up the text. So it's looking like you're reading the text, but you're actually looking at the camera. This is what's so cool about this, is all of this customization is built in. Now, one thing that I would really like, and I'm being completely honest here, and Elgato, I'm speaking to you, I would please, can you add YouTube channel support and let us just put in the channel ID or all of that stuff? Can we please do YouTube chat? Please. You can still pop out your chat and drag it over on the screen and full size it like I've done multiple times, but it's so cool that it's built into Camera Hub. I would just like to have it for YouTube chat. I don't know if that's possible. It might not be, but Elgato, please make that. So let's talk about Stream Deck integration. If you do have a Stream Deck, it kind of even opens this up a little bit more. So here's the Camera Hub piece here on the Stream Deck, and I have the pedal currently up. We'll talk about the other Stream Deck in just a moment. But we actually have down here prompter mode, prompter display, prompter control, prompter scrolling, prompter overlay. Everything you could imagine is here. So I could go ahead and change my pedals out right here, which you can. If I do prompter scrolling, I'm going to replace it here, and I can say set scroll speed, and I can adjust the value, and I can basically make it turn it on or off, which is really neat. So I really like the fact that this starts and just go ahead and pushes it. So we'll just go ahead and test it right now. Okay, so what I've done is actually connected this right here, the prompter control, and I have the step size on like -3. You can obviously adjust this, but on the pedal, so I can have my hands free, I can just touch, and as you can see from the B cam, I can just hold down and it will scroll with my foot holding this. I can let go and it slows it down. That's the coolest piece for the pedal. But there's a lot of other things you can do with it. So why don't we go ahead and go over to the Stream Deck Plus. I'm gonna go to another page. All right, so we can actually do things on the Stream Deck Plus and just add buttons. Like this is the prompter display piece. We can adjust power, brightness, or contrast with a button. We can actually do prompter mode, which is where we can change between chat, display, and text, which I really like because sometimes I might want to go to my Twitch chat. I'm gonna do another one of those. I'm gonna change it to just display. So what I can do is if I click this, it'll take me to my Twitch chat. And then if I click this button, it'll put it back to display. I really love that anytime I could click this and just be able to see my Twitch chat, and then I can go back to looking at a display. I think that is bonkers that it's so easy. But then you have like turning on and off the overlay. You can adjust appearance. I can also adjust the teleprompter with the actual like dial here by using prompter control. I can adjust the step size 1 times, 2 times, 3 times, just leave it on control. And I can actually spin the actual Stream Deck and move myself through it as well, which is really cool. I don't think I would ever use this, but I could see people using it if they do have it. So that's a lot of the stuff with the teleprompter, and all of that is extremely exciting on how it works. But there's another really cool way, and Harris actually pointed this one out in, I think it was a short that he did. The panel itself is so cool, and there's only just 2 Phillips heads on the back, and it also has a 1/4 inch like mounting thread on the bottom of it. You totally could, if you don't see the value in using the screen like this, get all of the Camera Hub cool stuff by just using the monitor and mounting it up as a 3rd monitor without the teleprompter. And you could use it as, and how he called it, which I agree, is like a sidekick monitor, just something off to the side. I've actually done a video on another monitor just like this. I did a few years ago. I'll show a little bit of that B-roll here where it was a little small monitor I used for Twitch chat that was just to the side. This reminds me of that, but it's actually like a normal 16:9 ratio. So that makes me think that this is a lot more versatile in that case. So really cool for that. Kudos to Harris for thinking about adding that. But as far as the teleprompter, I really think that out of all of the items that I have in my setup, the teleprompter, and when I started using one probably 2 years ago, when I was using something like this, right? Where I didn't have all of that software to be able to control stuff. I had to connect a separate monitor. It was a finicky thing. I had to run an extra HDMI cable. It was just It's just too much. Was it bigger? Sure. But I didn't need it to be 15 inches. I just didn't need all that size and girth. I'm such an idiot. Anyway, but real talk, if there's a product that you're thinking about, I want to upgrade this year and I should probably consider picking up for my setup, and you have the space for it, even if you're just a webcam user or you use your phone as a webcam, because you totally can just mount your phone on the back of this and do the exact same thing. I think that this is a no-brainer. I think this one is one of those upgrades that kind of just will sell itself, because you can do this, like look at yourself so that you can see this interaction, have it as what's called a confidence monitor, have it as a confidence monitor, and just be able to monitor your chat, do text for scripts if you want to do voiceover work, or if you've got sponsored ad reads, whatever the case. But Elgato, I truly believe in the fact that you guys got awards for this product, because hands down, with my long-term test that is only like 3 weeks, about a month or so now, I have genuinely loved every moment with this. I haven't had quirks, there hasn't been crashes. It's been pretty straightforward. I haven't had any issues with it. The only thing I've had a problem with it is the FX30 doesn't mount to the plate with the Sigma 16. But then again, the FX30 is a big chunky camera. It's the same body as the FX3. The A6700, which is right there, mounts on it no problem with the Sigma 16. And most of your APS-C cameras will do that. Now, if you're thinking full frame, there's a whole list of lenses on Elgato's website. I'll list down in the description that have been community approved that would work for them. And they've got Micro Four Thirds all the way to Sony full, Canon APS-C, and they list lenses as well as the body, what would work and what wouldn't. That's been tested. And obviously, you know, you can make anything work, especially with this adapter. And then just having it hang off the front of the lens, as long as the focal length works. That's a lot of technical stuff for me just to be able to end this video by saying I'm going to be making a few more videos on this, specifically what's in this box right here. Really excited to open up this box, because these are specially configured upgrades for the Elgato Prompter. That's not by Elgato, but actually from another creator friend, Knackers, who's in our community. He's actually sent out some support materials that are special 3D printed items that I'm going to show you work. Knackers has been doing this one for a while. He sent it out for beta testing, and I'm excited to be able to take an opportunity to see if they're worth it for you when you pick up an Elgato Prompter, because there is a little bit of weight and you might want to protect the lens and all of that stuff. Just a lot of really cool things. Knackers, thank you so much for sending this over. The video for that will be coming sometime in the next week or so. Guys, make sure you check out one of these two videos. And once again, the Elgato Prompter, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Add YouTube channel support. Elgato, thanks. Y'all have a great day.